If I had to describe Bethesda in one word, it would probably be talentless. So talentless, in fact, that Bethesda has managed to break the law of averages. And this is no small feat. The law of averages is a fundamentally underlying principle that governs our universe. It's effectively statistics manifest. If you throw a coin and it lands 100 times on heads, sooner or later, it's not gonna land on heads. It's that simple. Yet Bethesda somehow is managing to only hire people who are absolutely skillless, talentless, losers of the highest caliber. People who don't even properly use computers, and yet they work as coders. I don't know how this is possible, but Bethesda has gotten so bad that they are breaking the laws of physics.
What do you think the most important decision Bethesda ever made was? I'm curious what other people think it might be, so just leave a comment if you want. But it could be something like buying Fallout, maybe making Skyrim. I mean, these two things have proven to be very good business decisions.
True.
It could be promoting Todd to being the only one that can make important decisions, apparently. Was it making Starfield? Okay, we know it's not that one. I think the answer is...
A better question would be, what do you think is the most first decision Bethesda has ever made? There are a lot, and Starfield's definitely on the table with that one, but I don't even think I could contribute Bethesda's downfall to one singular decision. It's just, Bethesda was there, they did good, and then suddenly, roughly between Skyrim and not Skyrim, they started to be complete trash. Skyrim and Fallout 4 are heavily considered the beginning of the end for Bethesda, but it wasn't. It wasn't really. I can't really point to any single decision that ruined Bethesda. It's just like the world wanted Bethesda to become garbage.
Is teaching players to fix, expand, and preserve their games for them. So in other words, modding.
Oh boy.
Fine.
Okay.
I'll do it myself.
Because modding does 5 big things. It extends the lifespan of a game, in the case of Bethesda games, extremely long. It can deepen your investment in a game if you can constantly look for new mods to download. It lets you build...
Some people have so many mods that on Skyrim that it's no longer even Skyrim.
Your ideal version of a game. And of course it allows them to release broken games and patches knowing that the modders will fix it.
And the best part about this, I am, by the way, fully convinced Bethesda does this intentionally. They make a completely broken release of a game, they wait for modders to fix it, and after it's fixed, they update the shadows and lighting, and there you go, all the mods are broken once again. And that's it. Bethesda has done this so many times. Someone fixes their shit. Oh, what do you know? 2 days after, patch that does nothing but does break the mods anyway. I think Bethesda does this intentionally.
Biggest benefit to them now is that it makes them microtransaction money.
We don't give two shits about how technology works, because all we care about is getting fucking rich.
Isn't it crazy that Special Edition came out almost 10 years ago? And it still pulls half its peak every single day. I mean, I'm sure no one thinks Skyrim would be as popular as it is without mods. I mean, apparently Skyrim Special Edition accounts for nearly 65% of all Nexus downloads. And I think this all ties...
Wasn't Nexus made for Skyrim?
...into the Bethesda magic, which is of course exploration, music, freedom, jank, and getting unpaid labor to fix your broken shit.
I have an army. We have a Hulk.
But we do have to talk about that unpaid part, because some of them are paid now through the Creations program, and I wanted to find out...
You know what's the best part? Bethesda actually, historically, has hired talented mod creators to work for them. And all of these talented people who used to make good stuff, I kid you not, boys, I kid you not, they all pretty much turned to shit in like a month. It is insane. Bethesda also has a history of that.
out how much modders make on creations. Because I remember hearing with the Creation Club a while back that it wasn't great.
I need that money.
I missed the part where that's my problem.
From what I can find online, it seems that they're paid on a royalty fee system, which
Oh, yeah. They get, like, the small share.
the internet claims is 37.5%.
This is from a leak from a very popular mod that people say.
Which I think is not bad at all, really. Apparently, ZeniMax sets the price of the creations. I guess anyone can release free ones, but only verified creators can do free or paid.
You know what that implies? That ZeniMax actually slapped the $5 price on already pre-created Unreal Engine assets that were put into the creation engine.
Mention that it's not an open storefront and that you can't just post anything. ZeniMax fully controls the approval process. They also apparently basically own anything posted, and you cannot post it elsewhere like on Nexus, I guess. They also say that creators must support their paid creations, which I find funny because, I mean, can they take 18 months to fix something?
Day is never finished. Master got me working. Someday Master set me free.
But I do want to talk about how paid mods evolved over time. It all started in April 2015, when Valve allowed people to sell Skyrim mods on the Steam Workshop. This was of course with Bethesda, and Bethesda admitted discussing this with Valve since 2012 in like a Polygon interview or some shit, which is notably
Hugely unpopular decision.
1 year after
Obviously.
Skyrim. I think the best part of all of this was the revenue split. 25% went to the creator of the mod, 30% went to Valve because they take 30% of every single thing on Steam, and your math is correct. 45% went to Bethesda.
Now that's a lot of damage!
This could be documented as Bethesda's first real PR disaster. If you have another one in mind, let me know in the comments. I mean, obviously they had incredibly buggy game launches in the past and all that, but if you were around back then, you would, I mean, that stuff really didn't matter to people.
Good work. That's one less round roads to deal with.
Like, sure, some people had their saves deleted and all of that stuff. I'm sure they were upset. But up until this point, people saw Bethesda as just kind of like a kid trying his hardest. But this was very public, whereas other dramas like how much they sued to get the Fallout license under control, that was more behind the scenes type stuff. It wasn't really in front of everyone's face. So I don't know, let me know what you think about that. Something I noticed is that prepaid mods, we had Morrowind, Oblivion, Fallout 3, New Vegas, even though it wasn't made by them, but they will take credit, and Skyrim. Post-paid mods, we had Fallout 4, Fallout 76, Starfield, mobile games, and the Microsoft deal.
Yep, doesn't look good now, does it?
All I'm saying is after they released Skyrim in that 2012...
And by the way, this is 100% true. This is the reason why GTA 5 did not get any single-player expansions, because Rockstar was, well, what about the shortcuts? Okay? And I know that seems preposterous, but I asked Joey Vila, that's right, that Joey Vila from Yu-Gi-Oh! And I asked him, would you pay for buy less shortcuts if GTA 5 released a new single-player expansion? And he answered something gibberish in a Brooklyn accent, but I got the gist of it. Joey Vila, friend of the show, by the way. Something about probably popping someone, whatever that means, and he ain't buying any of that shit anyway, because he needs meth. You know, for each their own, as they say.
Of the, 2015 phase, there was a clear shift. And I don't feel like I'm blowing it out of proportion. I mean, there were a lot of articles written about this. But eventually Valve backed down, but Bethesda did not. And they came back in 2017 with the Creation Club. Now they really wanted you to think that the Creation...
And people were celebrating, the Creation Club is gone, we did it. I was there, admittedly without the YouTube channel, but I was there, saying that this is only a matter of time. You didn't win. They're just gonna wait until this all blows over. Granted, they did wait an extremely long period of time. That's mostly because Bethesda is incompetent, as I previously mentioned. But they did wait a very long time, and here we are. Paid mods are back on the menu, boys. Yes? Every company effectively has understood, by the way, this neat little thing that we want to be Valve. And by the way, I'm not joking. This is something every company tried to do roughly 6-7 years ago. Remember when every company released their shitty fucking version of a launcher so they can be a storefront themselves, because everyone was like, we can't buy Valve because it's not a publicly traded company. AKA Gabe has no obligation to sell it to anyone if he does not want. Based Gabe, love you, buddy. Mwah. They'll talk later on phone. Gabe Newell, friend of the show, by the way. And everyone wanted to do that, including Bethesda. And this is just a permutation of what now companies are doing, considering they understood that, wait a minute, we're not Valve and people hate us.
Club was not paid mods. They realized paid mods sounded really bad, and people did not like that. So they went for a more curated mini DLC type thing instead. I mean, they also know microtransactions sounds really bad too. The creators of the mods were paid based on milestones. I guess the idea is they would pitch something to Bethesda, Bethesda would approve it, they would lay out a timeline for when it would get done, and they would get paid along that timeline based on when things got done, I guess. What's important is there was no revenue share or royalty system in place for this, which is a lot better for Bethesda. I mean, the 25% revenue share with the Valve deal was way better than...
Oh, by the way, boys, time for my why Bethesda will fail with their current version of the microtransaction shop, aka paid mods. And it's very simple. Because the split's horrible. There is a lot of shit there. And people even who have popular things there, if they have an established career, a lot of their fans are gonna hate it because they probably were on Nexus mods for free, and now they need to be paid. Which means people are not gonna use them because, you know, if you had something for free and now it costs money, that's called a shitty deal. So a lot of people are gonna be stifled by that, but the big one here is the fact that Bethesda proves a lot of junk, a lot of clutter, and now Bethesda is officially partnering with the people who made, what's it called, not Skyblivion, but no, that's completely different thing, sorry. They are the ones who made the Bard College DLC, which is garbage and shit and no one should buy it because it's atrocious and it's stupid. It's really bad. Bethesda has, you know, teamed up with them, which means Bethesda gives them a straight up sum of money to make that thing for them. And this is just going to effectively create a monopoly, because this means that Bethesda is no longer just going to allow the market to do its own thing. They're going to now want to have a market that does its own thing, but they're going to push in things that they themselves wanted. And needless to say, that's going to end up as a disaster. It's going to effectively make it so if you're not sponsored by Bethesda and the Creation Club, you're probably not going to be visible to most people. Your revenue split is going to be horrible. And maybe Bethesda just fucking cuts you loose because you're not playing ball. You never know. This can easily happen. Bethesda has full creative control over their own thing, obviously. So, it's effectively just going to lead to the situation where now the only things that you can download there is Bethesda-approved slop that no one wants, and it's getting worse and worse because these people are getting paid money anyway by Bethesda, and they don't actually need the downloads or the quality of the mod for the money to come in, because Bethesda pays them up front. So, it's a race to the bottom. This whole thing has an extremely good chance to just becoming the ultimate race to the bottom, as literally everything Bethesda does.
With something like this, you basically always want some sort of royalty. I can't imagine that Bethesda was paying them well enough to forego the royalty system. Reminds me of that one guy from Shark Tank. He always wants a royalty. Kevin O'Leary, something like that. So yeah, they went from paid mods with Valve to the...
I mean, that guy's smart because royalties are amazing. This is how a lot of people who lend money make their money. It's really good.
Creation Club, And then to creations, which I kind of already explained how that payment works. I think it's by far the best version of what they're trying to do here. It probably helps a lot of people because if the 37.5% thing is true, then that's pretty good. And it effectively brought modding to console in a pretty palatable way, apparently. I mean, people use it. But of course, as I talked about in
It doesn't work. People don't use it. Modding on consoles has been bugged for years at this point, and it's still very unusable. And the PlayStation stuff for Starfield doesn't even work. Starfield doesn't work on PlayStation, I guess, just full stop.
previous video, I think a lot of the stuff on there is just kind of slop. I'm not saying the mods are bad. I'm just saying there's probably a free version on Nexus, which I know doesn't help console players, and that's who I kind of feel the system is in place to farm.
Yeah, but console players don't exist also. That's kind of the big problem here.
But it seemingly works and we will not see it going away anytime soon. Now I think all of this supports modding being the most important thing Bethesda ever did. The premise from the start. But what about the creation engine? It gets a lot of hate. I mean, it's graphically outdated. It has ancient bugs that Bethesda can't seem to fix, but modders do in a week after every game comes out. It runs like absolute shit, but it is the only reason modding is so robust for Bethesda games. Kind of a funny story about the creation engine. Fallout 4 has lots of dupes and exploits in that game. Doesn't matter because it's a single player game, so who cares? The problem is all of that was imported to 76, and that's why 76 was broken so quickly. People even found out how to inject Fallout 4 items into 76. They are that similar. But this all kind of brings us to the creation kit, because Bethesda...
He's not showing the most iconic part of that. Someone injected the pred bin. Yes, the whole thing from Fallout 4 and Fallout 76. Even that was possible. Good stuff. Good times.
Bethesda doesn't just allow mods. They release the same tools used to build their games to begin with. This is why mods can be so impactful in a Bethesda game compared to other games. Like in Resident Evil 9, people can turn enemies into Shrek, but I don't think they can do what they can do in Skyrim. And this is why community games can even be made like Fallout London. All because of the creation kit and all because of the creation engine, which all stems from like an engine from like 2002 or something. Hang on, I need Google. I guess the original technology behind Bethesda's engine was developed in 1997. But as I said, Bethesda began using this core technology in 2000.
That's older than some people watching this. I mean, this is just a couple of years. This is just a couple of years older than me, Jesus.
So it has been iterated on for literally decades. It started as a construction set for Morrowind and Oblivion. They called it the Gek for Fallout 3 and New Vegas. That's actually very cool by them because the Gek is something in Fallout lore. And they've called it the Creation Kit for Skyrim, Fallout 4, and Starfield. And like I said, they've been doing this since 2002. Another little fun fact is that the Creation Kit wiki is fan-run. So the community basically made its own school. How much do you think Bethesda employees themselves reference this? I'm not saying it's a bad thing.
Lot.
It's just funny. And it's all very interesting because the creation engine is a janky, broken, outdated loading screen simulator. But meanwhile, it's like Bethesda's greatest asset. It gives their games wildly extended lives. It's created almost a cult following for their games. Like I said, I just don't think Skyrim would...
The biggest impact of this is the fact that after Bethesda got known for their modding community, a lot of games actually started doing this, making their engines available to the public so stuff can be modded. Now it has simmered down a little bit, but there's a lot of companies that still allow this intentionally.
Be nearly as popular without all the mods. And sadly, more recently, it has created microtransaction economies in their old single-player RPGs. It's sad, but it's almost not sad too. Because like I said, console players do benefit from this a lot. I don't know, it just sucks to see microtransactions in single-player games like that. But then when you argue against it, it's like you're trying to say modders shouldn't get paid. That's definitely not what I'm trying to say. I don't know, it's a whole thing. But thanks to the creation engine, Bethesda didn't build games.
There are a lot of people who unironically do think that modders should not get paid. There have been a lot of situations where people try to dox modders and do so many different things like that just because they they are not giving their stuff away for free to the community. How dare you want a living wage? It is wild.
Games, they built platforms, whether intentionally or unintentionally. And I gotta wonder what this means for Elder Scrolls 6. Because
Well, Starfield was the worst moddable game ever. Elder Scrolls 6 is probably going to be kind of the same, not going to lie. Anyway, that's obviously a 10 out of 10 by Drawn Out. And have a nice day. Bye.